Question: is the use of non-domiciled licenses a clever way to keep border freight moving? And maybe the bigger question is this: if the stories rolling across Twitter X tagged to big names like Mother Trucker and Newsmax, why is everyone else staying silent? Well, grassroots people like myself tonight and Bonehead Truckers in the past of the world are citing claims that Werner's drivers are operating with non-domiciled CDLs and were involved in crashes. Why are there not more people reporting on it? These are amongst a few of the questions that we are going to ask tonight. And I invite your part in conversation. So buckle up, guys. This ain't just a headline. This is a reckoning for capacity, competition, and the conscience of those of you on the road. So I want to hear from you tonight. Have you witnessed or seen non-domiciled drivers working lanes they shouldn't? I mean, it wasn't long ago. Sean Duffy was out pushing the pavement about we need to get them off the road and we need to make reforms. And do you think carriers are actually bending the rules to survive the storm? Do you think there's more going on than meets the eye? Or is trucking media today just purely misunderstood? Are people like me and Ike, are we going out of our lane? Are we doing more damage? I want to hear from you. I want your input. You're welcome to call our studio line, 860-785-3547 during this live show, or drop your thoughts in the comments during the live, because tonight we're not just chasing rumors. We're actually chasing truth. We're making a difference, and we're making it loud. This is a collaborative think tank for advanced trucking journalism, and together we are going to make trucking great again. One fact, one story at a time.
The answer to that question is yes, trucking is worth it.
And we are talking tonight about CDLs, non-domicile in other ways. Greetings, truck lovers and truth seekers from all over the United States of trucking. We welcome you to tonight's show, your home for news, opinion, and all things trucking. We believe in critical thinking, fueled by faith, sanctioned by God. We are here tonight letting you know that we are back in the saddle, making a difference, making your day better, helping you to make trucking great again. Call our studio line during the show, 860-785-3547. Email us with your thoughts on future stories, and join in our membership to do your part and help to make trucking great again. It is a simple thing. It helps to support me. It helps to support the mission of this channel. So let's get right to the front page. Tonight's headline is lighting up truck stop chatter and tearing across Twitter X. A claim that Werner Enterprises may have non-domiciled CDL drivers running loads under their banner. And if you think it's just another social media rumor, think again, because this one's tagging big names like Mother Trucker News, Newsmax, and others with supposed claims of ignoring the obvious. Silence or calculated risk? You tell me in the comments. That silence is what makes this story matter because timing's everything. Just days ago, and it wasn't really, I say days, but it wasn't long ago that Sean Duffy actually stood before cameras and announced an emergency order from the FMCSA declaring states issuing non-domiciled CDLs without proper verification were now under federal watch. So now, because investigators found hundreds and thousands of foreign licenses floating around in our system, some tied to fraud, others to fatal crashes, and all of it eroding the faith in a very system we depend on to keep you, me, and every motorist out on the road safe. So when a major carrier like Werner, one of America's big five, is connected to any whisper of non-domiciled drivers, even its rumors deserve a little bit of scrutiny. Not because we're hunting for a scandal, but because the law has shifted and it's clearly stated what needs to happen. California, Oregon, Washington, New York, Pennsylvania, all these states are on notice. They have a job in front of them, and that's to straighten up their house and get their ducks in a row. Now, this isn't just about one fleet. This is about an entire regulatory landscape being rewritten in real time. And where carriers are walking a tightrope between cross-border trade and federal compliance, and where one misstep could land them and every driver under them in the penalty box. Now, normally I wouldn't even entertain a discussion like this, but largely and boldly, sources across trucking are reposting this source on X, and they're asking questions like, does it really deserve more than just a cursory look? So tonight, we're not just asking who's driving. We're asking now why here, and why the silence from the very voices that up to now you've depended on actually sounding the alarm and keeping people like you informed. Because when Washington drops the hammer and the media looks the other way, it's people like you and me that pay the price, and we get crushed in the madness, honestly. So that right there is your front page. In my eyes, it's a collision between policy and practice, commerce and conscience, and the trucking nation caught in the blind spot of what I consider its own media. So I'm going to start tonight off with a really bold question, and that is, if those in power won't speak up, who should? The regulators? The corporate PR teams, like the man you're actually seeing here on your right? Or is it people like you and me? Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Or if you want to get involved in the conversation, 860-785-3547. I'd like your input, your opinion, and you are welcome to let us know what your thoughts are. While you're at it, do me a favor, go down below, like this broadcast. I'm trying my damnedest to grow this channel to become the face of stories left unsaid. Talking about stories left unsaid, somebody we don't hear from very much. My neck of the woods. How you doing, Grumpy? How's things for you tonight?
Doing all right.
So
pretty good.
Let me start out with you on that question. When it comes to those in power, when they don't want to speak up, who should? Do you think it's left to the regulators, the corporate PR teams, or people like you and me? What do you think?
I'm gonna go with somebody like us because obviously the bigwigs aren't doing a damn thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's got to be us. Yeah. Out here. I mean,
does it kind of anger you that, people like Truckers United and others have gotten involved, and they have made their presence known. They've said what they wanted to say, but you get situations like, well, let me see. I'm trying to get something to show up here. Bear with me. You get situations like this footage right here This was captured on Bonehead Truckers, and I'm not playing the audio because I know that the audio is proprietary. So I'm just playing along with the actual video because you know what? It makes sense. Every bit of what he claims is going to be showing up here on the screen here in just a moment.
Yeah.
There was a talk amongst somebody with the handle of Billy something. I forget what it is. It'll show up here in just a second. Um, there we go. Um, Billy B53959 is talking about being involved in an accident where at the accident they actually needed translators in order to fill out all the reports necessary. Now that's kind of difficult, especially when you consider the fact that as the picture scrolls down, you're gonna see it's a Werner truck. They had an obvious non-domiciled CDL. I mean, you would expect that from like, the PR companies, that they're based out of like California or Illinois or other places, but here we are, we're looking at it, right in our face and, voila, next thing you know, we've got people like you and me seeing that there's actual evidence, there's non-domicile CDLs with one of the big five or a major, corporate giant like Warner. So what thought goes through your mind?
Well, we've already had this battle with these non-domiciles for quite some time, and it's gotten worse and worse. And now, if these big mega carriers are trying to employ them and have them drive for them, I don't believe that's fixing the problem. It's actually making it worse.
Right.
So I disagree with having this go on, but what do I know? I mean, I'm just a simple peon driver out here.
Right. I wouldn't call yourself a simple peon driver. Your opinion is just as important as everybody else's out here. So I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit, my friend.
Well, I
Uh,
mean, I'm 25 years out here.
I mean, yeah, yeah, 25 years. That says a lot. And in that 25 years, we've noticed a lot go on. So,
hmm
this is our opportunity to take back that which we need to, operate and be
right.
better to make trucking great again. 18 Wheeler, welcome to the show. Glad you could drop a comment. It says almost a quarter of the way through the Trump administration and the damn thing changed. They got us right where they want us. Keep trucking in the dumps and inflation stays stagnant. I'd be interested to hear from you, 18 Wheeler, about your thoughts on what Sean Duffy has done. I mean, in terms of the story we're talking about, in my collective thinking, his issuing the emergency order by itself is a little bit against the comment you're leaving. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not really changing as fast as we need it to, but can we honestly say that they're keeping it in the dumps purposely? Can we honestly go there? I mean, I partially blame the media for it. I really do. I mean, because Sean has made the rounds. He went on Want the Truck. He's gone on several major news networks, and he's clearly laid out what Newsom and the governors of Oregon, Washington, and Pennsylvania, and other states in question need to do. And what he's said to me makes sense. Because if you can't read the signs, if you cannot legally do the job, you shouldn't be given the license to do it. Makes perfect sense, and
Well,
it is clearly, all about
I
safety
mean,
standard.
like here in Oklahoma, believe it or not, it surprised me as our governor got involved with ICE and they took off 100, roughly 120, 130 non-domicile drivers that some of they, I mean, it's out here on the media. One of them had a driver's license that literally said no name. What the heck, you know?
Yeah, that's been reported by a couple of other smaller channels. No name given or first
Yeah.
name unknown or
How
yeah.
do you get to operate equipment, especially like ours that we operate with something like that?
And there in part lies the issue with the different visas that they've
Hmm.
issued. You've got the different, like the most common one, the U for U, which is the Ukrainian, um, allowing the Eastern Europeans to come over here because of the Ukrainian war and the conflict over there. A lot of these people, and I've heard others in trucking media say that they feel bad, and I do too. They've been brought over here under the Biden administration
Hmm.
um, with the calculated thought that they would be able to build businesses, make whatever. And now all of a sudden we're changing up the story. But I kind of I have to, and then this just as me looking at common sense from 30,000 feet. I have to defer to the side of safety. If you hail from an Eastern European company and you have no understanding whatsoever of the English language, how can you possibly operate within the realms of safely navigating, being safe, keeping others safe, reading signs, being able to get from A to B without having, some sort of difficulty that could mean the difference between life and death? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just purely common sense. It's been said by some, it's been said by others. And there's quite a few people in media today which either do one of two things. They either ignore the story altogether as if it's got no potential, or they treat it like we're attacking the rights of people that, just frivolously for what I mean, how can you attack a right that ultimately, and this is my question, and this is my how can you attack a right that ultimately didn't belong to you to begin with?
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
kind of the way I look at it. What do you think, Grumpy?
well, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, we've got a lot of these people that come over here for jobs and stuff because their country was under fire and scrutiny and all that at the time. But still, it doesn't give them the right just to throw them in a truck and then they're not understanding our language, the way it should be, where they can speak it fluently enough to understand, and we understand them as well. Plus, I mean, our traffic signs and stuff like that, a lot of them just don't understand them, causing more and more accidents. So they need proper training if we're going to allow this. I mean, you
Yeah,
can't just throw them in a truck and say, "Here's the keys, go." And that's what it seems
because
like they've been doing over the last few years.
yeah, because I mean, here's the real big thing, and I want to say hello to my daughter who's also watching. I just popped up her
Hello.
comment a second ago. When headlines like these go unanswered, what do you think it does to the public's thought of what the trucking industry is? I mean, just think about it. I mean, you know, you've got a major, company like Warner connected to non-domiciled drivers. I mean, even if it's rumor, it's still a problem. And when you put it in the context of people putting out headlines like what we're talking about, think about what it does to public confidence. You know,
Well,
we're already
yeah,
bad enough and behind the 8 ball as it is.
yeah, and it's just making us look worse. I mean, because Warner, as big as a company as it is,
Mhm.
shouldn't be just saying, "Oh, well, we'll just sneak them under our radar and stick them in a truck." And no, I mean that's a no go there. It's making us as drivers that have worked hard and are very professional with our line of work look
Mhm.
bad. It really is.
Yeah,
And these big companies are getting away with this stuff right now, and it shouldn't be allowed.
right.
It's something's
And
gonna have
it,
to, I mean, something's gonna have to go real quick with this.
yeah, I mean, I lead in with the closing of the front page with the same question I started with. If those in power won't speak up, who should? What should we be looking at? I mean, should we be looking at, contacting our senators? I mean, should we be boycotting corporate PR teams? What do you think?
Boycotting's not going to do us any good because I mean
Yeah,
it's just It's
I'm
very
just
similar
spitballing
to,
ideas. I mean,
yeah.
because that it's come
Um,
down to that quite a few times. You never know.
it, and I mean, even if us as individual drivers all came together that are been doing it for years and tried to say something, they ignore us. I
Mhm.
mean, look at the former parades, as we called them, whenever things were going, you know, off the hook. Whenever the C virus happened,
Right.
it got no one nowhere. I mean, yeah, they seen it. They said, okay, well, we've got to do something, but they never really done much for it. And the same
Yep.
thing's going to happen with here. They're letting it slide under the radar, and it's ridiculous. As long
It
as
is.
this, everything's always got to come back to this right here
It is.
every time.
Mhm. It is. It is. I'm going to move on to our next segment. I'm going to see if I can do this seemingly. No, I can't. Never mind. Because I'm running a live show, not a video. I got to keep remembering that. So I'm going to watch myself and be careful. I'm going to move on to segment number 2, which I call the centerfold. I'll bring you back up in a minute, Grump. If you've got to understand the terrain here, Warner isn't just a backyard operation. They've built a multi-billion-dollar carrier with deep roots in cross-border trade. And then I realized that what we're talking about probably has a large hook in that. Every day, 300 to 400 loads roll through Mexico and back. Okay. And in an economy where domestic freight is drying up and that cross-border lifeline looks mighty appealing, there's a lot to be said for that. Now, the kind of operation often requires bilingual drivers, men and women who may hold non-domiciled CDLs to legally work limited drayage or shuttle lanes. But that speaks for around the border because when you think about it, cross-border traffic, if a Mexican CDL comes through the border and lands in Texas or any of the other bordering states, they should be dropping that freight nearby and taking their freight back to Mexico. So I asked the question, what's really going on here? Because in the previous example I cited, where Bonehead's talking about Billy, and he was in Ohio, okay, and I don't know anything about the person driving or anything more than the claim that was on his video. I mean, I could leave information about the ex post or whatever, but the driver in question was in Ohio. And that's where this idea that's where this whole thing took place. Now, there could be a lot of reasons for all this. I'm not going to sit here and speculate it. But the question I'm going to ask is, are carriers using these non-domiciled CDL drivers as a stopgap, a creative response to a 3-year capacity crisis, and stably and ability to stabilize horrible rates? Okay. As Derek Leathers himself put it in another article, which I'll leave linked below, he says, we're witnessing a quiet normalization of practices that could one day erase American driving jobs in the name of global trade. He said this in an article through through um, CCJ Digital, and again, it's Commercial Carrier Journal. And in this article, Warner's downturn and capacity contraction was contextually described as a possibility based on this. The article points out that Warner moves 300 to 400 cross-border loads daily, leveraging nearshoring trends to stay alive in a freight that many call soft, a freight market. Now, that means Warner's not just playing in the domestic lanes, they're actually deeply embedded in border lanes, drayage, and other cross-border commerce. So when someone tags a post like we saw tonight, claiming a Warner driver with a non-domiciled CDL is involved in a crash in Ohio, that allegation could be more than just internet noise. There actually could be some meat to that. This isn't a random accusation. It matches a model. Trucks that cross the state and national lines, policies under scrutiny, and a company already leveraged into border freight. I'm not going to knock it. If it's legal, you can do it. No big deal. Derek, if you've got a legal explanation for it or a reason for doing it, come out and let us know. I would like to hear it. So I want to ask, what's really going on? Are these carriers using these drivers as a stopgap? Is there something going on, like Derek Leathers himself put it? Are we witnessing a quiet normalization? Are we putting these people in our place? I think Sean's already spoke to that. And here's where it really comes together, okay? Media elites sip their coffee in their corporate offices. Independent owner operators are left wondering whether or not the next competitor is running legal. And a competitor like Werner, that's big time. So my question is, why aren't more media outlets talking about this? If what Warner's doing is legal and above board, so be it. Let's figure it out and move on. But if there's trouble, let's figure that out and move on the right way. Tell me in the comments if you agree. They're moving more than 300 to 400 cross-border freight loads every day. So my question is, what's wrong with suddenly picking up the phone and getting on the load boards and saying, let's have some American drivers move this freight rather than somebody with a non-domiciled CDL or questionable reputation move that freight. So let's hear from you. Grumpy, what are your thoughts? If you were given a load that was, like, say, from Laredo, and it was brought in by the Mexican drivers and left for you, you'd probably be like, good deal. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I've done that with several carriers I've worked for.
Right. Now put yourself on the opposite side of that spectrum and now answer the question. If that was instead taken away from you, when you could perfectly do it, both in time, hours, and availability, and instead it was given to somebody with, a questionable reputation or even license. Not that you'd know that, but if you found out that's what the practice was, what would your thoughts be there?
I'd be very PO'd.
Yeah. And how do you think?
Because
I mean, how do you think that the average individual in our industry feels? I mean, because honestly, when you think about it, it's been going on under our noses for the longest time. And Sean,
it has,
to his credit, he's doing his part to put it to rest. He's kind of slow, in my opinion, but hey, he's only one guy, I don't know the speed of the government. Yeah. So,
I mean, it would be nice if they could do it like they were doing with the Doge thing, where they could go in and do more in depth and dig it out and fix things. But
well, the first thing you've got to figure out is the system. So I kind of get where Sean's coming from, and I get why he's doing it the way he is. It's a systematic problem because, first thing you got to do is stop the inflow of the licenses. But then what do you do with the current inventory you have? Which leads me to a video I've recently posted. Go ahead and watch it. If you're watching this, hit the like button. Let me know you're out there. But the last video I uploaded talked about that very thing. You've got now an inventory close to 200,000 people that we've now got to figure out, can they really do the job? Brought in by a former administration, which went hell-bent on this whole idea that we had an alleged shortage that we don't have. So, yeah. I mean, to a small degree.
It wasn't about the shortage. It was about them wanting to bring in cheaper workers so they could get the freight moved. That was all it was about, I guarantee you.
Trying to steal my thunder, you slick bastard. No, but it's what it's about. It's cheap labor. I mean, either way you slice it, that's what it's about. Good call.
Yep.
But all right, to the second question, if a non-domiciled CDL driver was spotted in Ohio, could that just be simply lane overreach, which is, I think, more a political term than it is anything in the media, or evidence that border-only drivers are now creeping into our country and doing something we all know is illegal, and it's called cabotage? Have to ask that question because if somebody's in Ohio and they're obviously non-domiciled and or of one of the two, Canada or Mexico, that's what it is. Can't slice it any thinner than that.
No.
So it's either somebody has a non-domiciled CDL they shouldn't have, or it's cabotage. It's one of the two. It can't be in between. So, hello to Larry the Trucker. I'm hoping you could have made it. Obviously, you're in the comments, so welcome to you. Welcome to anybody else.
If you can.
Yeah, welcome to anybody else that's watching. Anyway, I'm running my mouth. Grumpy, what are your thoughts? I mean, if they're in Ohio, cabotage. What's your thought?
Well, I totally agree with what you're saying. I mean, it's cabotage basically. I mean, what can we do about it?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
you and I can play, basically, oh, what do they call that? Whenever you a citizen's arrest type thing, but what good is it going
nah,
to do if we don't have proof? You know?
I think that's an avenue for another video. I wouldn't even go that far. I mean, I wouldn't even make the phone call. To be honest with you, the best I can do and the most I'll do is what I'm doing right now. What Bonehead Truckers is trying to do. I can't say that I necessarily agree 100% with the speed and the veracity by which he's doing it, but I definitely respect it because I mean, he has spotted a weakness in the system. And it is a weakness in the system that I encourage others in our industry to jump on and investigate, comment on it, at least make it known you're aware of it. I mean, one of the points Ike made is that others in the industry, and I've listed them on the description. I'm not going to make a deal out of it right now, but others in the industry and trucking media have remained silent. Now, I know some of these people, and I don't want to take sides one way or the other. And I feel like I know the direction that Ike's trying to go in, and I respect it. But to each their own. To everybody their own agenda. There's only so much any one person can do. Mother Trucker's got his schedule. Ike, you've got yours. I've got mine. We're all products of the resources God puts in front of us. So if Ike's got time and he wants to run story after story, God bless him. And with his permission and acceptance, I'll certainly run my side of it and talk just the same way he does because I think our I think our mission statements are aligned. Okay. I've heard him
Well,
say it a few times. We want to make trucking great again. And there's only really one true way to do it. And that is by keeping the industry safe and by promoting
yeah, I
safety
mean,
everywhere we can.
boasting out the information that is true and accurate helps a lot too. And
That's
that's what a
true.
lot of you do. You dig into it
Yep.
and get the correct news to boast it out so that the viewers are able to see this and know what's going on, which
Yep.
helps. Because there,
Yep.
as we know, there's a lot of them out there that they'll just to get views, they'll go grab a story and they're like, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened. And yeah, it catches the viewer's eyes, but it's not the truth. But you take the time to put this stuff together so that people knows the truth. And if it's
Yep.
not and they can prove you wrong, then that's what you want to hear from them,
Yep.
but they've got to have that,
Larry,
they got to have
Larry,
that
you
receipt
better
to back you up.
Larry, you better check and see what studio you're actually backstage in because you're not backstage on my studio. I'm looking for you,
No,
buddy, and I've only got
I
Grumpy.
seen the link. I seen
Yeah,
the link to
yeah,
this one right here.
yep. I know. I'm watching the panels because I've got everything off here to my right, and I'm trying to watch as we go. So he'll make it just in time for the rest of the story. Last question: where should the FMCSA draw the line? Should they draw the line at the border? Should they draw the line at the carrier? Or should it be with each of the states? So far, we've got a little bit of cross posting here. One media outlet feels like it's a state's issue. Others say it's you know
Okay, you want my
where
opinion?
what do you yeah what do you think, Grumpy?
My opinion is okay. As far as the crossing of the border issues, that would have to be a federal deal. States,
Right.
I mean, like Texas could enforce their part, but they've
Mm-hmm.
already got their hands full with a lot of other things. So it would be better if the federal government would step in and enforce where they do just like they used to, bring it up to a special spot, drop it, and then they go back home.
Yeah.
Um, like you said, for years there's been several of them that come up here and then they bring it on up to somewhere they're supposed to deliver it, and then they're supposed to go right back, but they don't always
Supposedly.
work out.
Yep. Yep.
um, because I know people, people. We won't mention people's names, but them people have came down, grabbed loads, and taken them back or traveled all over with delivering around in here, and they're not supposed to do that. They're supposed to
That's
have
true.
one coming down, one going back.
That's true. What
So
happens
that
and what should happen are always two different things.
exactly. And now,
They've always been that way.
like with my state here in Oklahoma enforcing the the non-domiciles, the ones that don't read, write, speak English correctly, that's a good step too. And each
Yep.
state should fit into that and enforce that. That will help quite a bit.
Yep.
Because honestly, seriously, it's a big matter. It's not just like, oh, here's the keys to your new car, drive it down the road, see how you like it. All right, let's sign the paperwork, it's yours. No, we're talking about 80,000 plus pounds on the road out here, because some of them drive heavy haul, I've seen.
Yeah.
And you get something like that, that is dangerous. You
It
get
is.
somebody that don't understand everything and doesn't know how to read and write English and stuff, and they're hauling something that weighs 90,000 pounds and got to have permits and all that. If they go down the wrong routes because they didn't understand the English, what
Yep.
now? So
That's
yeah,
the problem. It's a very dangerous
exactly,
problem. Yeah, it's a very
very.
dangerous problem. If you guys want to call our studio line, you're welcome to do so. 860-785-3547. We're having a discussion tonight about Werner and the controversy over whether or not they're actually using non-domiciled CDLs, and how in the hell they could wind up in some place like Ohio, for God's sake. So if you want to give us a call and be part of the discussion, we certainly welcome your commentary and would love to hear from you.
Well,
Otherwise, I do
I've
put out. Go ahead, Grumpy.
I've driven for several different carriers in my career,
Yep.
and Warner is one of them that I avoided. And I don't know why, but something just kept telling me, a gut feeling, don't go to work for them. Don't go to work for them.
Well, here's a
And
news flash. Some of you may remember, or actually, you may remember about some of my other videos on a couple of my other channels. I started out with Werner, and I worked with them for 2.5 years. So what they're going through in terms of the press that, you know, this Billy fella is putting up on Twitter X, and what Ike is talking about kind of doesn't add up. It does, but it doesn't. It adds up in that one thing that Ike did say because I watched his video. One
mhm.
thing that I did say is that Werner is one of the big five, and a part of that is that they are one of the lower paying. This I know because of the pay rate that I received for the 2.5 years I worked there. Lower paying on the scale of mega carriers. They do not put pay as an industry standard, even anywhere in their calculation. Their big thing is customer service and integrity. That's what they
Yeah.
concern themselves with. They've got
And
a huge inventory of major contracts with, you know, big guys like Dollar General, Family Dollar, Procter and Gamble, to name a few. I don't know if they've
they've
expanded or what
they've
they've
actually got a
changed
few
over the years.
Walmarts too.
They probably do, and they
They
probably
do.
got a lot of even bigger names. But that's, the point I'm making is that they worry more about the customers they serve than they do the drivers that work in.
You're just
They're
a
working with.
number.
You are literally, yeah. Hell,
They
when
don't
I
ever
worked
know
there,
you by name.
yeah, when I worked there, the truck numbers started with 4, and now they're like 8,000, 80,000,
Yeah.
something. I don't know. That shows you how long it's been. It's
I was
been
supposed
a
to say
wild
I've
ride.
worked for a few big carriers as well, like CFI. I mean, when I
Yeah.
went to work for them, I was on a big board of a lot of drivers. I had one fleet manager, but the problem is
Yeah.
he had so many drivers. The only way he knew who I was is if I called in and talked to him on a daily basis. Otherwise, I was just a truck number. So if I
Yeah.
called in, I had to give my truck number in order for them to know who the hell I was, which
Yep.
is sad.
Exactly.
It shouldn't be
It
that
is.
way.
It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. Well, we're gonna
I
move
mean,
on
you're
to we're gonna move on to the closing part of this, and I'm gonna talk about the rest of the story. I'll be right back with you in a minute, Grumps. This is not just about one company, one crash, one controversy. It's about something bigger. My friends, we really got to look at this. It's about the soul of our industry and the standards that we hold ourselves and others in the industry too. We talk about who reports and who don't. Ike makes a big deal about the fact that others in the industry, like Mother Trucker, Newsmax, and other news outlets, have said nothing. Well, sometimes there's a calculated risk behind doing that, but other times, not so much. When we talk about non domiciled CDLs, there are a lot of those drivers out here. And there's a lot of need to move cross border freight. And there's a lot to figure out in the meantime. I'm never going to justify or advocate that any one particular practice or corporate agenda be present or work or not work. That's not my job. My job is to report, and my job is to have an opinion to see where yours lies. Corporate silence doesn't pay. Media silence doesn't pay. See, we're chasing something out here. We're chasing something that's called truth and trust. And I'm looking for an avenue back to the respect that we need. I'm going tremendously off script, but it's what I feel like I need to say. And people like you and me, every day, we're out here doing the job. We fall victim to the very images that come up on our channels. Whether it's Mother Trucker, whether it's Bonehead Truckers, whether it's Newsmax, or any of the major news networks, we have a lot of control over what is on those networks. And I think we need to grab at it, and I think we need to take it back. That, my friends, is a conversation worth having. We're living in a time where silence has become a strategy, where asking the hard questions is seen as troublemaking. Ike is not afraid to ask these questions. He's not afraid to put himself out there. I'm not either. See, I'm not going to go nuts like half of the people out here do. I'm going to ask the questions, and I'm going to open the floor to the conversation. So here in Truckin City, we're a platform and we're a channel built for just that. I want to have conversations that need to take place, because if those in power won't speak up, if those in the regulators' offices or in the corporate boardrooms or in other places in media won't take the wheel and drive the conversations forward, I am going to do that. This platform, your platform, is where the truth doesn't take a back seat. We are here. We are where faith fuels facts, where drivers define the dialogue, and where we remind people in power we mean business. That is simply what we are doing here. And that business, folks, it's accountability. Okay? People like Ike, they have the right thought starting out. And I will do everything I can to back him and others in the industry up. Stand up for every trucker out here. Everybody that's a small business owner, an owner-operator like myself, every fleet guy, and every person behind the wheel that's a driver looking at this industry and wondering, does integrity still matter? And the answer to me, loud and clear, is yes. Okay, because we're stronger when our standards match the strength of the people who uphold them. The way I see it, we've got 190,000 plus excuses why those standards are in question right now. And we've got one president and one administration that has the ability to turn that around. Sean, you started. Good for you. Derek Bars, you've got an opportunity to finish the job. The rest of you on the road, keep your head on a swivel, my friends, because it only goes up from here. When we talk about comments like this fella, 18-wheeler, talking about being a quarter of the way through the Trump, I see why you feel the way you do. And man, I get it. I understand it. Because on day one, people in the administration promised change. And they promised quick action. Let me ask you something. Where's your moral compass right now? When it comes to getting the job done, sending the right message, where is your moral compass? Proverbs 11:1 says, "A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, and a just weight in his delight." And that's what's at stake here, okay? Fairness, honesty, the kind of balance this industry was built on, 1 mile at a time, one handshake at a time, and one promise kept after another. So the way I see it, this administration's got their work cut out from. 18-wheeler, you say it's a quarter of the way done. I think by the time we're halfway done, we need to see more promises kept. We need to see more action, and we need to see more things done. What do you say, Grumpy?
Well, here's a little bit of what I was going to touch on. It's kind of got to do with the subject a little bit here. One of the problems, the biggest thing with our industry is over the years that I've driven, I've noticed that the pay and the way our companies treat us hasn't gotten any better. And that's one reason why there is a shortage of drivers. It's not really a shortage. It's just a lot of people like myself, yourself. We get out here and we're trying to make the money for them as well as ourselves.
Are
And
you
yet,
really gonna start that conversation?
I
I am
am.
severely
I
disappointed
am.
in you.
I
We don't
am.
have a shortage problem, mister. We have a retention problem. We've been down this road before.
I know.
Why
That's
do
what I'm
we have a
saying.
retention? And why do we have a retention problem? Think about it.
Well, that's what I say. It's because they don't want to treat drivers like myself and yourself that's got the experience, that takes care of
Because
their
of the
equipment.
we have a retention problem because of the Derek Leathers of this world paying
Yeah.
40 whatever cents a mile. You can't make a living.
No.
Pay these
And
guys
that's
what they're worth. That's how you actually keep people in the industry. Give them a reason to stick around.
exactly. And treat them better too. Because if you treat your
Well,
workers,
that goes without saying, my friend. I mean,
yeah.
that's a no-brainer. I
Because
mean,
as you know, I've worked at a few companies through my years, and several of them have treated me like garbage. I mean, I took the last company I worked for. I tried my best to bring it up, improve their FMCSA score, and of course, the owner was very appreciative of it. Safety department was also appreciated, but then there's
how
also the
thankful.
Karens that are
I
in
was
there
just going to
that
say, how thankful were they?
of course
We
the Karens
figured
had
that
to
one out,
step
didn't
in and take care of that problem.
Yeah.
So
We
but
know a
yeah.
company personally that's figured out what the retention problem we're talking about is, don't we?
Oh yes, very much. But
18,
yeah, I
well, if
mean,
you're still watching at this late hour of the show, tell me, in your estimation, what does holding the people in power accountable look like for you? You say we've been as far as we are, and we are where we are in this administration. Tell me, what does it look like to you? I'd like to see your comment down below. Tell me what your thoughts are on what it looks like when we actually get somewhere and make things happen. Does it require reporting wrongdoing to like authorities like the FMCSA? Does it require an upgrade for that database that we're all talking about in the background? Does it require us just saying no to cheap freight, or just simply staying quiet? What to you do you think would get us out of people like yourself coming on my show and leaving that comment? What would it take to change that? That's what I'd like to know.
I
Grumpy,
would
what do you
too.
think?
I honestly
Yeah.
would like to know. That's
Well,
very,
answer
very,
the
very
question
to the
yourself,
point.
Grumpy. What do you think? What would it take to change that, in your estimation?
Well, it sure is not going to take the turning it in thing, because that's been tried and it doesn't go anywhere.
True.
And saying no to cheap freight's not going to happen, because there's always going to be somewhere they're going to give freight to that person, because someone's going to be like, I've got to have it, and they take it.
Well, to more explore what you're saying, someone's going to take the cheap freight.
Yes.
I mean, simply one person saying no, there's been a lot of people ask, well, what good does that do? Well, it does a lot of good for me because I'm not taking a cheap freight, but
Right.
it happens when we, as an industry, collectively band together. It's like I said earlier, we are stronger together than we are by ourselves. And that, I think, is a large part of why we have some of the issues in this industry that we do currently, because we sit and think internally and we represent ourselves and forget others. And I
And
think that,
it's also
yeah,
harder for us that are company drivers for these companies to speak out too, because you have to be careful what you say because you could lose your job. And
but do,
then of
but do you?
course,
But do you
yeah.
really? I mean, if you're being
Well,
treated wrong, if you're being abused, what's at that point? What do you have to lose?
well,
I mean, think about it. I mean, how
I
often, how often do you hear people actually come out and say, "Well, I wouldn't say it while I was working," but and it'll come on with some story and they'll talk. What good does it do somebody when they don't talk about a problem? It don't. They don't do you any
well,
good.
no, and I mean it would be nice if we was able to, like here a while back there was somebody that had contacted me that had visited my group, and he was very interested in trying to get a lot of us drivers that are on social media together as one so we could all discuss stuff. But I don't know what happened to that fella, but I guess it didn't work out for him. But that's what we kind of need. We need to get kind of a not really a union, because obviously we don't want to have union dues, because
I'm
that's
gonna say, don't
not going to
use
solve
the U
anything.
word.
Yeah, I mean, I say we need to have a friendship train of drivers that can communicate and get the information out there. Kind of similar like you have your show right here, you know,
Oh
and
my God, he's talking about a daisy chain.
yeah, exactly.
Come on,
Basically,
Frank, give me a break. Come on, really? I really didn't think you were gonna go there.
well, I mean, it seems to work pretty good if you get one going strong. I mean,
No,
honestly,
what we need is a community of people that have the same understanding of what's right and what's wrong. We need a community like we've started here, and
hmm
we need it to grow strong. We need it to grow beyond just one person or one channel. See, I want to
yes,
build a community, but I don't want it to be my community. I want it to be our community. If you
right,
come on my show and you cite something's wrong, I'm going to back you up. I'm going to be behind you, brother. I'm going to do what I can. If it
right,
requires asking questions that are uncomfortable, I'm going to ask those questions. If it requires contacting somebody I would not normally talk to, I'll talk to them. Whatever. I mean, but as a community, if you're looking at the industry you're working in and you think your participation is going to do some good, what's there to lose? A
very
lot of
true,
people sit down and think, well, it ain't going to help me. So why should I do it? What damn good is that doing you? You're a
very
part of the
true.
problem the moment you sit there and have that attitude about it. And that's part of the grander scheme. I mean,
And I
we're
know this sounds a
we're
little off the
slowly turning
wall,
this
but
industry around. Yeah.
a lot of my AI content that I create and stick up
Mhm.
here lately has to do with, things that have happened at certain companies and talk about it and things, which is supposed to be eye catching and to bring in people to understand that
Weirder
just because
things
you
have
see it, you
happened, my
don't know.
friend.
With you, nothing surprises me, really, honestly.
But yeah, I mean, I've got a few videos that I've put out with my AI that boast out a lot of companies on what they did wrong and how they treated drivers. They may not be long, but they're short, sweet, to the point. And
Yep.
that's one of the things I like to get out there too. I want people to see that and understand, hey, it's not all what it looks like. They make it look pretty whenever you see it and you call them up and want to go to work for them. Once you go to
Yep.
work for them, it's a whole different book. The
Exactly.
cover is
Exactly.
removed and it's no longer pretty anymore.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, when you think about it, if our standards are no longer reflect the strength of the people who uphold them, what message do you think that sends to not only those out in the industry, but those out may be younger than us. The quote next generation of truckers. What do you think that says to them?
I'll be honest with you. A lot of the newer generation is lost. They're thinking that they're going to make big money because they've heard all these stories. I mean, I'll be honest. I thought the same thing whenever I started 25 years ago. I thought by now I'd be making $150,000 a year. Right.
Yeah.
Not unless you go to work doing your own authority, and then you got 100,000 you're putting out, so you're really not making much, you know.
Well,
So
I mean, that's not to say it ain't possible. I mean, let's not dart everybody's, dreams of, you never know. You never know. But, the trucking industry is different for everybody. That much is true, bro. It is different for everybody. What's true for me ain't necessarily going to be true for the person watching this broadcast right now.
correct.
So,
And
so
it all boils down to it's trucking is a lifestyle. It's not something that's just, oh, you're going to go into it and try it out. If you're going to go into it, you might as well go full force and make it your career. And there's a lot of things you got to change in your life to be able to do it. And
Yep.
that's another reason why we're having this issue with all these people, because
very true.
some drivers give up.
Yep. Some of them do. Not all of them. Some of them.
Well,
So listen, guys,
said
tonight
some.
as the sun sets over this great land, let's remember what unites us. Okay, it's a work ethic. I'm gonna leave you right there, Grumpy. You're gonna stay with me. I'm ending the show a little differently tonight.
I'll be
It's a
here.
work ethic, the willpower, and the witness of a community that never quits. Let's make sure that our laws, our leaders, and our livelihoods reflect that same spirit. Because when truth drives the load, we all arrive safely. We talked tonight about Werner, the controversy around the claims of non-domiciled CDL drivers rolling where they shouldn't. We've examined the FMCSA's emergency crackdown and what it means for border freight, safety, and trust. And we've exposed the silence of big truck and media. And I do mean silent. More of us need to speak out and start reminding everyone that real journalism asks the hard questions, the ones that Ike's asking. So good for you, Ike. Even when it's inconvenient. So I urge you guys watching, take a moment, join us here. Okay, if you have the opportunity and the time, if you can, join us here, become a member of our channel. Every story out there has a story. Take the time, join us, share this with others in your industry, in our industry, that you think are underserved. People that could really benefit by hearing more about bigger networks, bigger causes, and bigger dreams to make trucking great again. So Truckin City, it's not just a network. I've designed this as a movement. It's a voice for those without a voice. Okay? It's a call for common sense and a reminder when others fall silent, we sound the horn. This is Truckin City, and we mean business. Any last words, Grump?
Well, in the words of the old grumpy old trucker, as I used to be known as, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it is, get right on it and get it fixed.
Right, there you go. I encourage you guys to take advantage of every day you're alive. Ask questions nobody else will ask. Because at the end of the day, if you don't ask those questions, if you don't share with others your thoughts, you're only hurting yourself. But you also are hurting everyone else. We are your collaborative think tank for advanced trucking journalism. We are here for you. Until next time, take every chance you can. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Be strong. And remember, it's trucks that make the deliveries, but it's you that makes the difference. Until next time, my friends, stay strong, stay faithful, and above all else, keep it rolling.